So last time I did a trip, I started there and I made a little stop there, and then I hiked along this, and then I went up this way, and then I went this way, snowy motorcycle trail, and then it brought me down to the creek. I guess I must have done a little cross country, and then I did cross country this way down to Hard Luck Campground, and then I hiked to here, and from here I hiked to there, the Buck Creek Camp, and that little section took me 6 hours. And there's supposed to be a spring. Actually, the Buck Creek, the real Buck Creek is right here where it says Buck Creek Spring. That spring was dry. And I didn't have any water. I hadn't seen water for like probably at this other place that says Buck Creek that isn't really Buck Creek. I had to go back 2 hours the next day to find water. And once I got there, since it was so arduous getting through, I decided to bail. So I bailed out at Hard Luck and got picked up somewhere over there. My plan had been to do a giant loop, come all the way back, and then go down to Sespe Trail, and then try to get up to Ladybug, and then try to get up here, and then come back down this way. So what I'm gonna do this time is I'm gonna start here again, and I'm gonna go this way like I did last time. But when I get here, I'm gonna go on Little Mutau Trail, and I'm gonna go up here to Buck Creek Trailhead, and I'm gonna go down Big Cedar Creek Trail to Seven Pines Camp, which isn't here on the map, but I was really close to it. I camped like right there, but I'm gonna go to right about there. Unless I decide I don't want to go that far, then I'll camp right up here. There's a spring. I've seen it. It may be dry, but I have seen it, and I can camp either there or at Seven Pines Camp. And then I'm gonna return the way I would have returned had I been able to get through Buck Creek, and I will come back on the Little Mutau Trail, and then I'll go down Johnston Ridge Trail to Sespe, and then down the Sespe Creek Trail to Red Reef Trail, and I want to go find the Harris Tunnel, and there's a place called Horse Thief Camp. It's not on this map. And if I can get through all the way to Ladybug, which I highly doubt that I can, then I will continue on up to here, and then I will come back down this way to Piedra Blanca. If I can't get through to Ladybug, then I'm gonna backtrack and just go out the Sespe Trail. So that's what I'm gonna do over the next 5 days. Tony joined me for the first, he says he's gonna go 6 miles. First he said 5, now 6. It's only been a month since he had his heart surgery, and I had to ask him to go ahead of me. I'm really struggling. I'm blacking out even right now, just standing here. It wasn't this hard last month. I don't know what's wrong with me. Oh, I made it to the top. Tony should have come with me the last little bit. It wasn't as far as I thought. And look, there's all these blue flowers. Well, I'm here at Pine Mountain Lodge. Nobody's here. After taking a rest, I was able to continue up that hill, and then now I'm sitting in the shade and I feel pretty good. The shade's pretty cold. So, I don't know, I got a lot of things to think about. I filled out the paperwork to retire, and I got as far as saying, yeah, do it, process me. But you can cancel at any time up until, like, I don't know, 2 weeks before. So I have time to think about it. I'm not sure if I should do it. It's not like I'll have access to a lot of money if I do. And I kind of wonder why I'm doing it. I mean, I have shit at work that I'm dealing with that I don't like, but is it really about that? Or is it about, I had a motorcycle accident in January of 2020, and kind of made me feel like, boy, I might not even make it to retirement and getting to do all the things I want to do. So that kind of shook me up a little bit. And then, Tony is 70 and I'm only 56, and he just had heart surgery. So that kind of shook me a little. It's like, well, am I running out of time that we can go do some hiking together? And then my dad got pretty bad dementia, and that just makes you think about how time is passing, and I don't know, time's running out. Am I gonna make it? Am I jumping off too soon? I don't know. I've always been so independent. It's hard to think about having to depend financially on another person, which I would have to do at least for a few years to make it from here until I can get Social Security. So, I don't know, a lot of things to think about. I kind of almost feel like, I mean, you have the motorcycle accident, and my dad, and Tony, and the pandemic, and it's like, am I trying to commit suicide, and the closest I can come to is to commit career suicide? I mean, I don't feel depressed, but what are you supposed to feel like after a year sitting in your room? I don't know. So as you're hiking up after Pine Mountain Lodge at the Cedar Creek Trail, you come to this really dark place. There's like a pool of water down there, and there's a cedar, a big one. You can see all the lush greenery. There's another pool right there, and there's like a spring where it's coming out right here. I made it to Cedar Creek Campground. The weather forecast said 87 today. Feels about right. It's pretty hot out in the sun. Every now and then a nice breeze would blow and that would feel good. And in the shade it's a little more tolerable, so it's not too bad. So making decent time, but not good time. Oh boy, it's about 4 o'clock, starting to cool off. I've made it now to the trailhead and I'm gonna hike for however far I can get before like 6 or 7. We'll see where I go. That thing, that lean-to thing is still there. Wow, this is the last creek crossing and it's dry. I wonder if there's any like pools of water. It's sort of damp right there. I was thinking maybe I should stay here at the last water. There's no water. I put 3 liters in my pack just in case a little while ago. But I don't know, I was thinking, oh look, there's water over there. Hey, that's good. Yeah, it's a bit of a puddle and I've seen some cow patties, but it's good enough for me. I bought a new patch for my backpack. Lost in the Los Padres. Well, here's my campsite for the night. Just gonna relax for a little while, have dinner, sleep under the stars, see how that goes. Wow, the camera makes it look darker than it is. I woke up at 5 so I could take advantage of the coolness of the morning. And I got my coffee and I got no tent, see? And it's nice. It's nice and cool, and there were lots of stars and a really cool looking new moon set last night. That was very cool, although it's sort of hard to see because there's this bush in my way and I didn't want to get out of my sleeping bag because I was too comfortable. Anyway, coffee time. Well, it took me an hour to get ready. A lot of that is squeezing. The Sawyer squeeze, I don't know. I'm thinking about going back to using Aquamira. So much faster. There's Mutau Flat. Apparently there is a weather station there, so I usually go to Wonderground. You can pick that one to get a more realistic picture of what the temperatures might be out here in the Sespe area. That's maybe a better view. I think I go up that canyon. So I had thought to camp here last night. It's only an hour away from where I camped, but I decided not to because I was worried this creek might not have water, but you know, it looks like it has plenty of water. Well, if I don't die, I'll be here tomorrow again. I'm going that way. So this is why I hike. I've been climbing up this trail slowly but surely, and it's going to cross this little saddle, and it's full of these beautiful trees, and you see that and you go, wow, I wonder what's on the other side. And that's what always keeps you coming back, is wondering what's on the other side. So I'm here at the saddle. I'm going to have to drop all the way down into that canyon and then climb all the way back up into those mountains. Why? And then immediately the trail has crap all over it. Listening to commercials for credit cards to help you earn money towards your dream vacation. It takes about 6 months to earn the money you need. Well, that's 6 months of spending money on stuff. This vacation, look how beautiful this is. It didn't cost me any money. So clearly the trail goes through there and it kind of stays up high. And then there's a little side trail going down here, but I went down there and it looks kind of bad. Maybe I could go around there, but there's water here, so maybe I'll just take a little rest break. So I went up and around the log instead of through here or through that, which I never would have gotten through. There were some wild roses, but I made it. And now look, more wild roses. So this may be little Mutau camp, or it may be a replacement for it in a better location. Looks like somebody died. It could have been somebody's dog. It's real pretty in here. I gotta start climbing. Look at that. Ugh. So this must be the official Little Mutau camp. But I don't know if it's at the same spot as is marked on the topo. I'll have to check. So here's the trail right past the ice can stove. Oh crap. I didn't secure my pointy hat again. So I'm gonna have to go back and get it. I think it's just at that ice can thing, but I had to do that huge climb. That was so hard to get around that huge tree, and then there were other horrible things in the way. So I don't know, it's like half a mile back, maybe quarter mile. Here's where all the junk is covering the trail. And I climbed way up there and around that log, and then I had to stay way up high. So my hat's gonna be up there somewhere. So I'm gonna have to do that again. There it is. Almost all the way back to the to the ice can stove. So it's only 10:30, but losing my hat and having to go through this has me having second thoughts about going all the way up and then coming all the way back. Another tricky spot. I decided to press on. I may be leaving the creek or not, I'm not sure. But the creek has plenty of water. So I think this is where I went wrong the last time I was here. This fork in the road is not as clear as going this way because this is the direction I've been going this whole time. And I think if I go around this log, somewhere over there is going to be an old sign that you can't really read anymore. And if I go up that way, there's like a really nice view up there. And then the trail to McDonald Peak, which is unmaintained. So I'll bet if I look at the GPS, that's what it'll say. I always just look at the ground first, just so I can see where I am without having to rely on apps. But my goal is to climb that, not that summit, but up into the trees like that, somewhere beyond there. So I'm gonna go check it out. Here's the post for the sign, but I don't see the sign anywhere. Could be crushed underneath this log. So yeah, I must be where I am. Now I'm gonna check the GPS just to make sure. Yep, I was right. I checked the GPS and I was right where I thought I was. So I'm on my way up. Long, steep, dry climb. I got lots of water in my backpack though, weighs a ton. Ah, the shade feels good. I was having this memory of coming down this trail and stopping at the first water, and the memory was so vivid. And I'm trying to think, what trip did I ever do where I did that? And there is none. And I realized, I must have imagined myself so hard. You maybe even dreamed it. I don't know. On my last trip when I was at Buck Creek and there wasn't any water, I must have been trying to imagine myself coming down and getting to the first water here and just throwing my stuff down and running down to get it. And it turned into not just like an imagining, but an actual memory. That's really weird. The brain is weird. Well, I'm at close to 7,000 feet up here. There's the marine layer. Can't really see much from here. You can just see that I'm up at the top. I need to go that way to find the road. Last time I was here at this sign, it has fallen off the post. I tried to go along the top of the mountain, but there's so many blowdowns. It was just too hard. So I swore if I did this again, I would try to find the trail that goes to the parking area. So that's what I'm gonna do. Found it. in 2009, I camped right next to this outhouse with the idea that any bears came after me, I would camp inside this outhouse. It didn't smell or anything. So it's about 2 o'clock, and I'm right here at this P, and I had thought I would walk along here, and then there's a spring there, but that would mean that I would have to hike all the way back to here, all the way through this. This was where all the overgrown stuff is. Then there's this big steep climb right here, and then it comes back down. And then this is a really brutal descent all the way down to Sespe Hot Springs. That's kind of a long way. It's a lot more miles than I think I'd want to do, especially with a big descent like that. I know I've done it before. It's painful. But it's only 2 o'clock right now, and I'm only right here. I thought, well, I could go up to the big spring again. But that's as far away as the Divide or the Seven Pines, which is somewhere down there, which is another big giant drop to get down in there. So I could go back and find a nice place somewhere around here. I don't think the camp that I saw was actually right there, but somewhere in there. And that would still leave enough, because this is all pretty brutal, and then there's this really steep climb up here. That would leave enough to go down to Sespe. I'd probably get there really early and not want to camp there. Maybe I'll camp there, I don't know. Maybe it'll be relaxing. This trip just doesn't have too many days, and this one day is just too long without water to do anything good. So I can't really figure out anything good.